weird.
Waited for you, Fry.
This episode traumatized me as a young person.
My head is hurting again.
Where's my firstborn son?
God does not care about me masturbating.
Your singing is bad and you should feel bad.
First get out into the bus, so you're like, oh no!
Yeah. I don't like myself becoming the protagonist of this podcast.
You've been
Yeah, because you haven't learned anything.
Shut up and take my podcast.
What are you doing with your face there?
I was trying to do like droopy dog.
You're creating jowls.
Yeah.
You're being the blobfish.
I thought you were being Fran
Okay,
Drescher.
Fish
how
don't look like
dare
that.
you? Yeah, the blobfish only look like that because they're on our, like, adapted to our pressure, so they're basically exploded.
Well, I didn't think that. I thought you were being the nanny.
I didn't realize I was like talking to
Mr.
blobfish
Sheffield.
apologists.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Sure are.
But you
Yeah,
know,
two of
you know
them.
what we're not going to apologise about?
No.
Being shut up
Shut
and
up.
take my podcast, the Australian Futurama podcast that pits episode against episode in a bloody glorious tournament battle. Took a breath too early there for your entertainment. And as always, I am joined here by Drunky Chris.
God.
By only had a few hours sleep, Phil.
Which crazy thing that's happening are you screaming about?
By who's that laughter, Ellen.
Well, get Zooks.
And
we're joined by Sean.
What does blue taste like?
Does anyone have synesthesia?
No. Do you know anyone that has it?
I do.
Do you?
Yeah, I knew
You have it, or you know someone
No,
that has it?
I had a friend who not only had it, but role-played in a role-playing game, a character who had it as well.
Wait, is this like the Auspex power from Vampire, so that I can actually...
Oh, that would be a good combo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are you also-
a Toreador with synesthesia.
Yeah.
That would
Man,
be...
we have really crossed podcasts here. It's
So
great.
listen to Roll the Cast, available on available podcasts.
Roltercast is the red and we're the blue. We're just merging them now in this big supernova event.
Does that make Imaginauts yellow?
Don't eat the yellow ones.
We don't talk about Imaginauts.
We don't talk about
Don't worry,
Imaginauts.
it's lemon.
Now, good news, everyone. We are up to the semi-finals.
Oh, God.
Which means we're only a couple of episodes
We should
away.
be a lot more serious about this
Really?
than we are.
No.
Oh, fuck me, I guess.
We have controversially 5 episodes in contention because we couldn't fucking decide between
Yeah,
us.
couldn't
sue
split
us.
So what we have done...
Yes, actually, no. Comment
make up our own rules.
in Twitter about how we're wrong.
Yeah. But we have 2 travelly, timey episodes.
It's weird how they keep syncing up like this, isn't it?
Yes, it's almost like we planned it. No, we didn't. We have the winner from Season 3, Roswell That Ends Well, against the winner from Season 7, Meanwhile. Meanwhile. And that is the episode's up for contention today. I don't know. Phil, do we need to...
So
do we need
Roswell's when they accidentally go back to Roswell. That's that one.
Yeah, and all ends well.
Grandpa.
Very good.
Yeah. And then meanwhile, it's the end of the season.
End of a series.
Forever.
Series. Yeah, it's the end of the series. Probably forever. Until they do that one-off podcasting.
That's
Yeah.
right, which we have done. Go back and watch it.
And they
Listen
release
to
a,
it.
then they release a mobile game.
Oh, yeah. Did anyone play
It's
that?
still going.
No.
I played it a bit.
Did you?
Oh, I didn't.
I didn't pay money. Like, I didn't pay extra money because there's a lot of in-game purchases.
I don't think I've ever played a game on my mobile, except for
I
Snake.
think I played
What about Angry Birds?
No.
What about
really? Yeah.
Flappy Bird?
No.
What about Snake?
I did say Snake earlier.
Oh, did you?
So you get no points.
But I
award you no points.
but I can edit it so you didn't say that.
I mean, you can edit it to,
Sweet.
to
I
say
can edit you to
whatever.
say anything I want.
Exactly.
I got triple digits in
Ellen.
Flappy Bird. I was real good.
Peaked.
Yeah. That's where I got my fucking, what do you call it?
Carpal
Carpal
tunnel.
tunnel?
Oh, yeah, Chris has
Pro
carpal
gamer.
tunnel Chris.
Here's the thing, is that if I pick up my phone, it hurts.
So, you know,
So
you
maybe
don't,
don't,
don't
get on
pick
your
it up.
phone.
Yeah, I know.
Don't be
Well,
on that
I
phone
can't do that, Ellen.
because you be on their phone.
Well, I'm going to ask you be on your phone because we
have a
while
big
we were
point of
watching,
contention.
While we were watching, meanwhile, I revoiced my annoyance about the breaking of the time travel rules.
And then we had several other questions that went.
Yes.
So do you want to bring
Sorry.
up your, what was your initial
my
point of contention?
So my contention is that, my point of contention is that when Fry is tumbling from the skyscraper, the Vampire State Building, and he loses control of the button and Leela gets it, when Leela starts pressing the button, Fry continues on his conversation between time jumps.
Yes.
As if he remembers what he's been saying.
Which
is
should not
against,
happen.
Which is against the rules that the professor set, which is that inside the bubble created by the button, everything stays the same.
Yeah.
And then the whole of the universe outside of it goes back 10 seconds.
Which is why that my point was made redundant, because the reason that Zoidberg doesn't have the dollar bill is that it doesn't get reset with him. It gets taken out of the loop.
That's right.
Because it's inside the bubble. Yeah.
But
Chris, we had, sorry.
Well, our other thing was the controller itself.
Yeah, what was that one again?
Yeah,
the
because
controller
once Leela grabs it off of Fry and begins to use it, she should just have it.
Yes.
But it goes back to Fry falling from the building.
And she always has to catch it.
Yes,
Yeah.
which should not happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a
Great.
few things.
Sir Krill.
Great questions, everyone.
Save time.
Chris Bond representing
Reddit.
no, the infosphere.org. Some
So
good,
the Futurama wiki.
some goofs,
I used it constantly.
goofs for the episode of Meanwhile. The clam bites off Leela's right hand, but the hand in the clam appears to be the left.
What a mistake to make.
Suck that, writers.
After the clam cuts off Leela's hand, Fry takes more than 10 seconds to press the button.
I mean, I saw that one.
A whole
Jeez,
bunch of
come
other
on.
shit. Who cares?
I was going to say, isn't this time travel?
Yeah.
Since Fry and later Leela cannot press the button... Leela cannot press the button simultaneously... instantaneously, once it comes off the 10 seconds,
Yes.
the device would not reset permanently. Like, it wouldn't be a constant loop. There would be like a frame or half a second delay.
Because they
which means-
can't press exactly 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
which means that Fry
Eventually, he would hit.
Yeah.
would be getting closer and closer to the
what
ground each time.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was thinking about the first time I saw that episode. I thought that was going to be the...
He would get closer and closer and closer. and that
Yeah,
would be
but
the
it never
tension.
happened, and then I thought I was just dumb.
So the infosphere accounts for this
Yep.
by saying the button might account for this.
No. I don't accept that. Farnsworth is a marvelous inventor. He should be the greatest inventor of all time, but he did not account for that. An intuitive fucking button.
When Fry splatters on the ground, the time button survives the fall.
Well, it does land on his goo, so that sort of breaks the fall.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, you hear it go, splork.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
infosphere's response is that it's possible that it has a lower terminal velocity than Fly.
Yeah.
But I would add...
It definitely does because it floats up as soon as he lets
if
go
you're
of it.
listening to the podcast, I would go onto the infosphere and add goo.
Yeah, add the goo thing.
When
yeah.
in doubt, goo.
There we are. Fry would not be able to tell a continuous story while falling, since he would be sent back in time and would be unable to remember what he had said.
Yeah, exactly.
It's possible that since his remains were in the time bubble, he remembers. This still leaves...
But if he was remains are in the time
this
bubble-
is the thing. This still leaves the previously mentioned, I didn't mention this earlier, goof about how he should remain dead if his remains are within the time
Yes,
bubble.
exactly. Yeah, you can't have it. You can't have it both ways.
No.
Yeah.
Also, my other one is it's not a like a time travel goof. It's just the fact of the end of the episode is they're just going to make the same mistake when they go back round.
Yeah.
Like it goes back to the point that he
Invents
before he
the
creates it,
button.
which means
Yeah.
he will create it because we know from the rules of Roswell is what has happened will happen.
Will happen again,
Which
yeah.
means that so as Chris well pointed out, the ending of a series is just for you to go back and watch the series again.
Would you like
Then again.
more goofs?
Yes.
Yeah.
It stands in the basketball match. Some characters are seen twice. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yes. We were looking at
Objects
those.
seem to react to Fry and Leela in a particular way when time is frozen. The basketball still spins when it's pushed. The thrown hat continues its trajectory. Gravity seems to affect objects thrown by Fry and Leela. If time was actually frozen, anything would stop moving when Fry or Leela stop applying a force to it and objects wouldn't fall. This is actually answered in the commentary by David X. Cohen.
Oh yeah.
What
Because
did
it
he
just
say?
wouldn't look
I
as
goofed.
good.
Well, here's the thing. When pressed for it, and he says that anything Fry and Leela touch enters the time bubble. They can walk on water simply because their shoes touch it and not them. To my response is that the fact that they get their friends to the wedding means that each of their friends would have been added into the time bubble.
That's
And
what I
they
was gonna
made a
s-
swing out of them.
Yes.
And they're not
they
going to
make a
remember
point
that.
to change their facial expressions as well.
Yes.
So
They
David
break
X. Cohen,
Scruffy's lower half.
Tried to talk his way out of it.
don't at me.
Denied.
No, I still hope one day to get old Davy Boy on the podcast.
yeah, we'll grill him about this topic.
The really
DX.
hard question. I feel like David X. Cohen is like a really great 90s name. Like he's the DXC.
Well, he's David S. Cohen, I believe, but there's already a
DSC.
David S. Cohen in the Writers Guild, so that's why he went with X.
Does he throw up the arms across the body X
We'll have to
sign?
ask him.
Has anyone like checked that for your?
Whether
You know,
David
Because
threw
whether
up
he
the
brings
X.
up his arms against his...
There
No.
are no other Philip Harker Smiths.
yeah.
No.
Oh, me.
There are no Sean Flirls.
Yes. Have you...
Chris Bond has got to be pretty fucking
yeah,
common.
Sweeney fucking Todd? Yeah. It's written by Chris Bond.
Oh,
Christopher Bond
shoot.
wrote
As
it.
in like the original
The
Penny
original,
Dreadful.
the original Penny Dreadful
well, no
was
one
written
cares
by
about that.
Christopher Bond. Well, it makes it trouble because
It makes it trouble.
If I direct it, I use my full name, which is Christopher Bond. I always direct under the name.
Yeah.
I can't put my name to it because it's directed by Christopher Bond, written by Christopher
Can't
Bond.
you just put it in a different font?
Can't you
Yes,
just put,
Ellen,
Can't you put
thank
the
you.
other one in parentheses?
I also like the idea that someone
Not the same.
that like it's like a pseudonym for you. Is that pseudonym? Yeah. If you don't want to go under Chris Bond, so you hide it by calling yourself Christopher Bond.
And they'll never know.
I'll never know.
There is another Ellen Graham out there. And she's
She's a
bitch.
she a fucking bitch. No, she's a famous photographer. Because
Still
if
a
you
bitch.
Google image Ellen Graham, like a professional photo of Christopher Walken comes up.
You're going to say Christopher Bond and
And
it
I was
came full
like,
circle.
That would be great. That would have been great. But no,
And
I
you
think
have
that dude
photos
was super
taken
dead.
of you. So your bucket list item should be to get your photo taken by Ellen
the
Graham.
Ellen Graham.
Ellen, that's
Graham
called
on
a
Ellen Graham.
mirror and a camera. It's
So I
called
do,
a
have,
selfie.
I do have a question.
Jesus Christ.
Do we have any points of contention besides the obvious thing that we can't fundamentally prove that a supernova crossing with a microwave will result in time travel? Is there any time travel problems with Roswell?
This
No.
is so the thing. They take a fundamentally different approach, right? Because
Yeah.
meanwhile, they try to explain the rules, right? In Roswell, they just go fuck it.
They don't define it.
Fuck it.
your
There are no
rules.
rules.
Yes.
We've taken on clocks.
Yeah.
Well, no, so in
The chronometer has turned into a calendar.
Well, in Roswell, it's like in the like micro minutia kind of the episode. Yeah, like things like taking on clocks and chronometers turning into calendars, that sort of stuff. But like from an overarching point of view, it's a closed loop.
They do make that clear. Yeah.
They like everything that has happened will happen. And that this is just kind of filling in a gap in history. We're just writing that in.
Predestination is a great movie, by the way.
Isn't it just?
Yeah.
I keep,
Do you know what also
keep
is
hearing
the
about
one
that
with
one. I've never seen.
what's his name? JC. JD?
Jesus Christ.
No,
Please.
the
Ja-
boy.
Jason Bourne.
the boy.
with the time in his hands.
Looper? No.
The fuck are you talking
Time
about?
in his hands.
Harry Potter?
Hang
No.
on. Hear him out.
And the Prisoner of Azkaban?
He's got time in his
Oh,
hands.
you're thinking of About Time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, JT.
JT.
Yes.
Anyway, good movie.
I have a question. It's a closed loop, right? So everything that's happened will happen.
That's the idea, yeah.
And so wouldn't Fry, if that was the case, wouldn't Fry know that his great or whatever is called Philip? She never gets his name.
No.
But why does she think
Yeah.
it's? Why does he think it's Enos if it never was Enos?
Well, they
Do
probably
you know
had
what I mean?
sex.
Because they were because it was the 50s or 40s.
She wanted him, right? And so she probably said, she wanted Enos, right? She was like, oh, I miss him. And she probably said, as you're probably about to say,
Yeah.
before I rudely interrupted you,
Please.
that she claimed that it was Enos.
So she could just claim it's Enos. And
yes.
he knows
I
that
would
she
go
does.
the other
Well,
way.
she would-
She's a woman in the 40s
Yeah.
and pregnant
yeah.
Yeah.
to a man who's gone.
And
Yes.
they were going sweet. So they were courting.
Yeah.
So
You
Much
gotta say
better-
it, you got to say it in a 1940s accent if you're saying going sweet.
they were going sweet.
Yeah.
Say everything in the sentence
That's just
except the
Southern.
going sweet and put that in a 1940 sentence and then go back into regular accent.
They were.
What?
Normal accent, going sweet 1940s,
Oh,
regular
so
accent.
they were then going sweet.
A lot of
They-
demands.
They were going sweet. What
Thank-
did I say?
Director
I don't
Christopher Bond, ladies and gentlemen.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you.
That's the thing. Like, I think like it takes full advantage of the fact that Futurama can be fucking insane.
Yeah.
So I don't feel the need to fully like
Sorry.
extrapolate on the rules of time travel. It's just, here it is. Take a fucking blue microwave and what is it, a supernova? Yeah. You got yourself some time travel over here.
The thing that I find amusing about the whole granddad setup, though, the Enos setup, is that it just makes it a complete coincidence that Fry and Enos resemble one another, have similar hair, similar colour hair, similar facial structure.
You know what? That's the universe's sense of humour right there.
Yes, that's right.
That's 100% what that is.
Well, maybe she just has a type.
Hey.
Mildred. It is Mildred, isn't it?
Mildred.
Yeah.
Well, maybe,
Auntie Granny Mildred.
Maybe the coincidence is served by the fact that she has a type. And so before she would encounter Philip, she's looking for someone who's about that height, kind of red hair,
Military man.
And a complete
in uniform,
a complete fucking idiot.
a fucking idiot.
Do you reckon we can ask her?
Sorry,
What's
Can we
that,
ask
dearie?
Can we interview Mildred?
I have a
I'm
theory.
a little bit harder here.
I'm so glad you went for that bit. That's great.
I have a theory. Is Fry the first person to like be a fan of gilfs?
You have to remind me to. Oh.
He picked it up halfway through.
You have to remind me.
Can you explicitly tell me in
but she's
gory
not.
detail?
A MILF, a gilf, a gilf. That's the evolution.
I mean,
MILF,
Mildred
gilf.
isn't grandma looking until after he's done.
her.
Well,
he's
she's
done the nasty in the past.
Ain't it the way?
Well, she's not grandma looking. She's just grandma acting.
She's starting to resemble a bit of a
Yeah,
grandma.
her hair goes up into a bun. And
Got those
that's
like
just styling.
and her clothing. Well, that's the point of resembling.
Oh yeah, sure.
she doesn't go wrinkly. But
Yeah. I just mean she's not an
Shame.
elderly.
Shame.
She doesn't age.
But I guess you don't need to be
Shame.
too old to be a grandmother. You just
gotta
need to be
feel.
able to.
Gotta have a
largely
feeling.
out of your control past the first step. And it's like,
Jesus,
whatever
ain't that
happens,
the truth?
happens.
I just love how the episode handles all the different plots. Like, you've got the Enos thing happening. It's got its own fucking
need to-
madcap
yeah.
energy.
You know what? That's really true.
It does hit the ground
I
running.
love this episode a lot, and I think that's the first time I've realized that this has three main
Three
narratives.
plots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Zoidberg's like the fucking
C
plot.
plot.
C
It's
plot.
the C
Yeah.
plot,
Well, it's
yeah.
like they need all their quests done before they can kind of get back. So they hit the ground running. We need to get a microwave. A Fry, try and
You need to not kill his...
You need to not kill your grandpa, and Zoidberg has been captured, so we need to get him as well. So there's a lot of
I
stuff
feel
in the air.
that them like rescuing Zoidberg is very incidental. They don't really
Look,
care.
if we happen to get it
Yeah,
done,
that's
that's
right,
fine.
that's
But
right.
nah,
I
we'll
like how
find another
Ellen
Decapodium.
articulates plot points as quests. It's a
Yes.
very telling quality of who
That's
she
how
is.
I look at like day-to-day to-do lists now. They're not like to-do or objectives. They are quests. Having
Habitica
breakfast
is
is a
good.
quest.
Have you seen the thing for exercise? There's a
The dungeon one where you
level up your exercise.
I think
Didn't you use that
I've
for a while, Phil?
I use a thing called Habitica, which you get XP for good habits and lose health for bad habits.
Oh, Jesus.
I did do like
Are
a
you dead in
dungeon
that game?
crawler
Probably.
exercise app once where it basically you put your smartphone up and you have like a little character kind of it's a constant side scroller in a dungeon, but it does somehow capture the movement you do on the camera. So if you need to like jump over, if your character runs into an obstacle, it needs to jump over it. So then you need to in real life do a burpee, and the camera
no.
captures that
you-
movement, and then your character goes along. It's very
Have you
cool.
seen Ring Fit?
yes.
I have not played it because
I have not.
Kind of gnarly.
I did do the Wii Fit back in the days
With
of
the
the
pad?
Wii. Yeah. The Wii exercise pad. And
Well,
that
this
was
is-
pretty fun, actually.
So for Sean's benefit and maybe people who care about
People
this
at home that
diversion,
are watching this.
It's a
Listening,
switch.
we're
It's a
a
switch.
podcast.
It's a
That's
switch
the joke.
peripheral that's like a.
But I say watching because they're unable to watch.
Sorry.
And thus that is the humour involved with what I said.
It's very dry. It's very cerebral shit we do here.
It's literally just like a ring controller that you hold, and you can squish it and bend it, and then I think it has a couple of things you put on your knees as well. And then Ring Fit Adventure is like it's an exercise program, but it's a quest. You're like running through the woods, and you have to like squeeze the thing to hurt the baddies and stuff like that.
And so for those that are watching, how do we find this game?
It's very funny. I saw a YouTuber do it who's quite fit, and he was exhausted by the first
it looks very difficult.
20, 30 minutes.
Nice.
Do you guys remember freaking iToy on the PlayStation?
No.
Holy shit.
Because
I played That's the original Fruit Ninja.
Yeah. I had that game with my friend, and we would play it. And like one weekend, we got together to play it because, you know, it was a weekend and had school off. And the next day, I had fucking DOMS. Like, I had delayed onset muscle soreness. Like, you know, when you've done a
I was
workout.
going for something else.
BDSM part.
I was like,
DOMS
I woke up and just DOMs everywhere.
I hope this doesn't awaken something
how
in
do
me.
you get them?
No, but like literally because there was like so many games where it's like you have to kind of be moving constantly and like chop things and wipe and blah blah blah, and like the next day my arms were as sore as if I'd done a fucking workout. Like it was a lot.
Just
So
Dance
you're saying-
is very
Just Dance
popular.
is great.
Very
Yeah, yeah.
popular. Yeah.
You're saying that if I play this game,
Yeah,
I'll get
you'll
subs?
you'll be as
Yes,
ripped
that's
as
No,
me.
you'll get DOMs.
Speaking of which, subscribe to Baby Vid Media on
Hey.
YouTube and whatever the fuck you're listening on.
Give us money so we can keep doing this.
Patreon.
Please.
$10, $5, $20.
I need to my ex at some point had a friend who was who's like a fiscal dom. What do you call it?
People that be like
financial
fucking
dom, yeah.
fucking
Financial
money.
dom.
Who's
Fin dom.
basically
Fin dom,
yeah,
yeah.
basically
Fin dom.
like and guys would message her and she'd be like, "Huh, give me money.
You know what
give
they
me
say?
$20.
Hey, cuck, give me money.
That's
Can
not
I
untrue.
can I try it now live on the podcast?
Do it.
Yes.
Go for it.
Hello, cuck, please.
You
So
suck
dominant.
Give
at
me
this.
some-
So dominant.
Excuse me, Mr. Cuck. If
Yeah,
you would
yeah,
be so
I'm
kind.
doing
Ellen,
the
if you keep
same
it going
fingers
this
right
way,
now.
we're going to end up paying the listener.
No,
This is what they call topping from the bottom.
it's topping from the bottom, and my homies are here.
So, speaking of which, let's take this from the top. Back to the episode.
Oh, I was going to go on one more diversion about
Please.
weird
That's right. I can
peripherals.
always take it out if I need
Sure.
to.
I can't actually remember
It
how we got
won't.
onto peripherals and exercise, but a client of mine, I do disability support. A client of mine has
not a dom.
a
No.
Kinect.
Yeah.
Remember
Maybe.
the Kinect?
I do remember.
I know, it's a similar
I didn't
thing.
have
That's the
it.
Xbox
So
version.
he has a Kinect that is for his PC because he's quite physically disabled, and the Kinect is there, points at his face, and he can like go blow out his cheeks or raise his eyebrows, and he can bind it to controls.
That's
Oh,
great.
nice.
Rad.
That's
It's
so
is
cool.
very
Facial
cool.
controls.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're like playing because he's got two computers next to each other. We're playing Apex, and to like aim down sights, he puffs out his cheeks.
Yeah. There's like-
Have you seen the guy who plays like COD?
Johnny No Hands.
Yeah.
Johnny No Hands.
Johnny
Timmy No.
Johnny No Hands.
Timmy.
I don't know.
Timmy No Hands. It's something No Hands.
That's the worst sequel to Edward
He
Scissorhands.
goes fucking hard. Like he's
Or
really
Johnny
good.
Silverhand
He's
from
real
Cyberpunk.
fucking good. He's real
Oh,
good.
yeah.
And
So
I was
he-
like,
he uses a thing called a sip and puff.
yes, yeah.
So
I've
it's a
seen
little
a lot of those.
cube that goes in your mouth, and you can move it with your lips, but also blowing and sucking into it in different ways. Access different controls.
That is
Yeah.
very clear. It's just goes to show like there's so much tech that kind of gets used once for some like toy essentially, and then we just kind of go anyway.
Yeah.
Let's incorporate it into everyday life.
Yeah, I think, and like the great thing about the Wii was
Rocky No
that
Hands.
it got
Rocky.
into so many old folks' homes.
Yeah.
And it's like a great way of kind of just casual, I mean, unless your grandma's in it to win it, like kind of casual exercise moving around. It's very fun. Like I think I'm a big advocate for those things because people are like, oh, it's such a fad. It's just like, it's, you know, it's probably not for you then. So just shut up.
So let people enjoy things.
Where does
Yeah.
fad as a word come from?
No, sorry, I'm stopping it here. We're back to the episode.
So weird to have Sean be the one bring us
Right?
back on topic.
I know.
I kind
Roswell
of hate it.
That Ends Well.
I kind of love it. I relish it, honestly. Maybe
It
it's
actually,
the bottle of
Roswell
wine
That
I
Ends
need
Well, I'm
to.
just going to keep talking straight
Yeah,
through all
please
this
do.
interrupting. Roswell That Ends Well has two things that are my favorites out of the entire series. It has one of my favorite jokes, which is deviled egg.
The same
Which
deviled
is
egg.
only second for me to another episode that has since been defeated, which is Beast of a Billion Backs, which is Bender killing his kid. Throwing his kid away. That
Oh,
was my
right.
favorite dark
His
joke.
newborn son. His
Yeah.
firstborn son.
Yeah, that was my... And it's got my favorite other thing that since I've been talking, I've been unable to think of.
no.
So for now...
I
That's
think
my
it's. I
favorite
think
joke.
it might be.
Oh, got it. You go.
I just think it might be my favorite use of Zoidberg in the entire series.
He's such a sweetie.
Just from the instant they open the crate and he goes, "Hello." It's so good. It just is pitch perfect. Everything about the way they use him and every gag that is involved, like he's involved with, lands. Like, don't take that. I need us to speak. Soaring faster, and
I don't think there's a gag that doesn't really land in the entire episode.
it's such a good
No.
episode.
Buffet. Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't bring my
I didn't
wallet.
bring my wallet.
Even Bender
It's free.
saying, like, it costs more life than it saves, and just gets fucking yeeted kilometers. Like, I think it's perfect storytelling, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it all
every
ties
joke is
together,
set up
yeah.
and execute, set up, execute, set up, execute.
And serves the plot. It moves. It's always moving the plot forward. Right?
Yeah.
Even when they go to buy an oven and it's jokes about the 40s and 50s being
Yeah.
sexist, they're still like on their quest to get a microwave. Right.
Well, here's the thing: is that not every moment is forwarding the plot, but every moment is serving the episode. So, like, a lot of the Zoidberg stuff is kind of like you don't need those Zoidberg moments in the episode. Especially like the food moment and the cutting out his voice box part.
the conversation with Truman, like
I guess they are serving the setting.
It's the
They're
internal,
helping-
it's the internal
Yeah.
logic of
But
the
they're
episode.
helping
That's
progress the
thing,
setting.
Is they progress the setting,
As
and
opposed to-
what
yeah.
you said, Phil, earlier is that they're tone appropriate. They continue the tone of the episode, and that I think is really exciting and really clever.
Like, I think a really underrated scene that we don't talk about that much is Leela and Farnsworth in the diner trying to order. What do they fucking order?
Chris
like
and I had a little
Soylent Green,
a Soylent Orange,
Soylent coleslaw,
and an injection of
Famoslim.
Famoslim.
And then when he gets corrected that it's the 20th century, he wants a croque monsieur. He
paella.
wants a paella. He wants 2 mutton pills, and he wants a stein of mead.
God, I'm fucking old. I don't remember any
That's
of
a
that
very
shit.
good memory. That's
What?
awesome.
It just happened.
Yeah, your point. You of all people know how that makes no difference.
That's true. What are we
Just
talking
have an
about?
injection
And
of Famoslim.
it has my favorite Futurama sci-fi invention, which is the spray-on outfit,
Oh,
which
yeah.
isn't the
Or
only
the
time that it
all-purpose
gets used.
spray.
No, we've seen it.
All-purpose spray,
We've
yeah.
seen Amy use it for bikini.
That's right.
And
no,
Leela
that's
uses
bikini in a
it.
can.
Oh, that's
Slightly
right.
different,
Leela uses it, I think, to
Same brand,
for
probably.
something.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Manufactured
something.
with the same building.
Oh, is
They
it
just-
when she's Lee Lemon?
That's what I thought, but I couldn't remember what she turns herself into.
doesn't she put a mustache on using it?
No, because she's already wearing the getup. It's just before she punches the shit out of.
Shit, man, I don't know.
Look, that was years ago.
I had my one shining moment of remembering things.
It's all
Let
over
me
now.
rest.
You rolled your d20. And meanwhile, has
God.
Jokes.
Vampires.
honestly,
The
Vampire
Vampire
State
State
Building
Building.
is probably one of the most underrated.
It's a very
jokes.
sweet episode.
Yeah.
There's a lot of time of nothing, which can be really good. They take their time of just showing Leela and Fry walking, which can be really beautiful when you kind of break from something that goes, joke, or set up. Just to have time to kind of breathe and watch them just walking is really nice. I like.
I do enjoy a couple of the scenes or silly, like just random moments, like Zoidberg putting his face through the Edvard Munch's The Scream. Had to say the full title.
You did.
And the Ultraman.
Oh
Ultraman?
yeah.
Ultraman
Really
diamonds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's so strong that he
Crushes
just crushes coal into diamond, and that's how he makes a living.
And just like really typical little Futurama gags, like one that made both me and Sean was when Fry dramatically falls off, like throws himself off the Vampire State Building, and instead of cleanly falling to his death, he just goes bonk
Onto the
on the gargoyle on the way down.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just the timing of it. It's just really nice.
Yeah.
I think what gets underappreciated with Meanwhile is that how often series, and I say this after just coming off How I Met Your Mother, this is what makes me think of it. How many times finales don't stick the landing, and they divide an audience. I think this is a very
Fry
fucking good
didn't
ending.
stick that
It's a good
landing.
ending, yeah.
It's like it's
I think
actually
all of their endings are pretty good.
But I
Yeah.
think like the Futurama, the finale is actually a really good finale, which not a lot of TV series I think get to do.
Well, maybe that's it. Maybe it's they got practice.
I think this is the thing, is that both Futurama's endings, or all three of them really, are all good.
Yeah.
There's-
4. actually, because the ending of season 6 was written to be an ending as well.
Oh, right, there you go.
Ken Keeler has written all 4
Endings.
episodes that were meant to serve as endings.
Remind me, what's the end of season 6?
I believe that is Bender trying to... I'm going to look this up.
All right. Ellen, you were going to say a thing?
Was I?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say that with, we were talking How I Met Your Mother, that has a kind of big arc that it kind of needs to get to, and it's got a lot of...
It's in the title.
Yeah, and exactly. And it's got a lot of themes it's wrestling with and that kind of thing. Whereas we have less so... We don't have that expectation for Futurama. With an animated show, we always return to the status quo. And while a lot of these finales progress the relationship, it's not necessarily a kind of we kind of always know that they're going to end up together.
Yeah.
So I feel like the finales are always just kind of letting us have that and let us savor that a little bit.
So I was watching a YouTube video recently about The Simpsons and about how The Simpsons should end. And this guy was making a video essay about how finales should operate. And it had 3 rules. One of those rules, I won't go into all of it because it would take fucking 20 minutes. We don't have that much time. One of the rules was that you should be able to say goodbye to all of the characters. A good season finale allows you as an audience member to say goodbye to all of the characters that you have met and chatted with. And in this example, that this Simpsons episode would have been a great way because it allowed you to say goodbye to each and every Simpsons character.
Yeah.
And kind of, I just thought that was an interesting...
Do you think Meanwhile feels that way? I mean, you don't get to say
I feel
goodbye
like
to
that,
everybody.
along with stench and stenchability. Stench and stenchability says goodbye to Zoidberg.
Yeah.
In a way that Meanwhile
and maybe Farnsworth to a degree.
Yeah,
in
like
Stench or in
Oh,
this
no,
one?
I'm thinking of
Meanwhile says
yeah.
goodbye to Farnsworth, I think, as well. It allows him to be his very best and to save the day and become a madcap. Yeah, it just... Hermes and Amy, not so much.
No, I was
Bender,
gonna,
not so much.
I was going to
That's
say,
true.
meanwhile, like literally, it's kind of the thematic thing. It's another pass around. Shall we do this all again?
Yeah.
And I guess it's meant to be that because there's no need for an end to Futurama. Like there's no big arc that they're trying to accomplish throughout the season. It's just we drop in with our cartoon friends and we see what they're up to. And so I guess the thing is, Meanwhile is just an end for us, the audience, whereas the adventure will continue on with Fry and Leela and everyone else, that it's another pass around and they'll go back to what they're doing.
If anything, it was the end of season 4, which was, I guess, the question of the show is, will they, won't they? Which was kind of answered in the end of Devil's Hands.
Should we get into the, let's say, one thing free of judgment negative about the...
Very, very quickly,
please.
before we do that, the season 6 finale was overclockwise, which is when Bender becomes that omnipotent creature, and it ends with him being like, oh, before I stopped being that, I found out what happens to you guys in the future, and he gives that little paper to Fry and Leela, who start like emoting, being like happy, sad, to like show that their relationship has ups and downs, but they end up together.
Yeah.
And that was meant to serve as an ending.
And this is the second final thing. I think the Bender origin story they do at some point in season 6 or 7 is also a good kind of
Bending
ending
in
for
the
him.
Wind?
Is that the Bender Hermes one?
Bender Hermes one, yeah.
Is that Bending in the Wind?
No, that's from the
early,
original
that's
run.
season
Oh, is that
Inspector-
Baby Bender?
This is the one that I
That's
think that
Inspector,
Ellen and
yeah.
I did.
Inspector something?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's where because Hermes is Inspector number 5.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like a tie-off for Bender and his story.
Yeah.
That's sort of what, like, it's sort of, they know they're not getting much more out of, they're not getting probably another series, and they start to sort of like...
Well, that's it with a revival, right?
Fill
You
in
just
all
don't
the
know.
bits. Yeah, they
Yeah.
fill in all the bits that they want to fill in, I feel like. Anyway, yes. Stuff that's wrong with things.
Yeah, judgment-free, explanation-free,
Looking at you, Ellen.
negatives.
Oh, don't you have to answer first? You just have to not explain.
Fuck. Shit.
You don't have to go first.
You can say
No.
someone.
Well, Phil looked at me. Sean.
Yeah, sure. In Seanwhile, because the letters are exactly the same. So
Oh, I get it.
there we go.
I don't.
Please
I
explain.
refuse to explain.
Thank you.
So for Meanwhile, I think
I get it.
You know what? I'm going to do a different one from what I did in the quarterfinals. Is that Hermes and Amy don't get a lot to do in terms of an ending, and for Roswell That Ends Well, which is such a difficult one to fuck me. hate to say it, it's close to a perfect Futurama episode. I feel like what I may want from that episode is to give me more time to think about it.
Yeah, I was going to say, somebody
on.
is vamping so hard right now.
Yeah.
So I think, I just don't think Meanwhile has enough funnies in it. It has some. It's not a humorless episode. I just think it needs more. Needs more jokes and less time setting things up. Roswell maybe needs the opposite. Maybe needs a little bit of like letting us settle in before it kicks off. But no, not really. I'm fine with it not doing
There's
that.
nothing you can... No, all I'll say is...
I really struggle with Roswell.
struggles, isn't it?
I really struggle with Roswell to say what's wrong with it.
Nothing's missing, but you can add stuff if you wanted to maybe make it better to your own personal taste.
Yeah.
I don't know if all the Truman stuff is a bit lost on me.
Yeah, I don't understand that much about the president at the time, but him just being a complete crackpot weirdo also makes me laugh. So in
Coming
case
out of a box of canned eggs.
like in case they've taken nothing about the real President Truman and just gone, let's make a silly funny character. That would also appease me.
I mean, that's
like,
the Agnew.
Yeah.
He wasn't a growling torso. I know, right?
Oh, did you think of something,
I
Sean?
remember,
Because I'm vamping.
I remember what my original negative from Roswell was.
Go for it.
I just wish there was a way to somehow put Hermes and Amy in there. I remember that because and it worked totally fine. But if you wanted me to add something in, it's just a way to also incorporate Hermes and Amy into Roswell.
Why not have Q-Bert in there?
Q-Bert.
Very flippant, Phil.
I was waiting for a no. Get Q-Bert out of here.
Why
response.
not fucking Randy, Sean,
Yeah,
while we're at it?
let's
Jesus.
What, Mr. Wong? Mrs. Wong?
Ellen?
Well, for Meanwhile, maybe I would have actually liked probably, more time in the time frozen. Like, it's very sweet and romantic, but I kind of like finding the light and shade, like, let's see them do something really boring together and see how being in love transforms that into kind of something less commonplace and more romantic. Because we've got a lot of very romantic scenery. So I would have just liked to see kind of more of them growing old together and less time setting up. Didn't really need Luna Park.
Yeah.
He already knows he loves her, so why does he need to...
That was like a nod to the beginning.
Yeah, and also we've done like a setup of... We talked about that last time.
Yeah.
So
Did you have one for Roswell? Or have I just completely forgotten straight away
egg!
what you said? The egg?
The egg on the pie. I've never figured it out. I never will. I don't understand.
American listeners, can you let us know what pie that would be that apparently tastes
pie?
amazing?
Because we have that
They don't,
essentially
I don't think.
in Australia. We have a big brekkie pie that I sell at the servo, and it's a monstrosity.
Oh, mate, at the servo?
We just used a fuck ton of Australianisms just then. I wonder if they... Servo.
A brekkie servo pie that you can have after you smash a dozer behind the bottle-o.
And you put the petty in your car.
That one I've never heard
Oh,
of.
mate, I'd
Petty?
fucking suck a dart
petrol.
down and
Suck
have
a
a
dart.
fucking
Yeah, put the
brekkie.
petty in.
Dozer.
Yeah. Smash a durry.
I don't like
mate.
in
mate.
Roswell. I don't like how the mushroom cloud just dissipates. It's not how mushroom clouds work.
Ah.
Annoys me.
Oh, and Rosie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Chris.
In
Rosie.
In Roswell, I would say that my biggest problem is that Amy and Hermes are taken on the trip in the first place.
Right, you just shouldn't.
Just don't have them there.
I think Sean's point is kind of right. I just want to build on that.
Yeah.
Don't have them there in the first place.
I completely fucking forgot they were
They were
there.
actually in the ship.
Me too.
They're I think I'm
Shit.
80% sure they're in the opening shot, and I think that they don't need to be there.
Yeah. If you're not going to use
I'm
them.
pretty sure, and if not, then I've drank a bottle of wine.
Chris, by the way, is that a fundamental flaw of Roswell? Wait, they were on the spaceship, weren't they?
I'm pretty sure.
Were they?
I'm not sure.
Because if they...
Someone get
I do
find
have
out,
another
mate.
thing, actually.
Okay, but first, should we do the meanwhile for Chris?
For meanwhile, and I will probably talk about this more when I get to voting, I feel as though the moment with Fry and Leela is a moment where I'm passively watching something.
Which moment, sorry?
When they are in the frozen time moment.
Yep.
And I don't feel as though I'm actively saying goodbye. And I feel as though that's wrong. and I'll explain more when it comes around to like unpacking stuff. But,
I'd like to unpack that because you
mate.
don't participate in TV, generally speaking.
well,
I do.
I think emotionally you kind of like invest in.
Okay.
And I think this is not a moment to
I wasn't
invest.
quite sure on your language.
Sure,
Should we?
Just
go.
one thing about Roswell. I know it sort of makes sense in context because he's trying to keep himself alive, but there's a sort of like undercurrent of anti-gay sort of sensibility in Roswell that's
joke.
a little bit problematic. And I know
as a
it's-
bisexual man, I give it a pass. As a gay representative, I'm allowed to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Thanks for the stamp of approval.
Bang!
The LGBT
No,
rainbow sticker.
No, I agree. I was going to say that
Yeah,
one.
so
It is
was I.
kind of covered by the fact that it's like, no, you must have
He needs
me.
the sperm,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Please.
I think it's literally out of self-preservation.
But but also
But
the
it just comes off a bit.
the fact that he says, don't ever think that way again, instead of, I don't know, maybe knock up a girl first and then see what you think.
Knock it up a notch.
That's how I would have phrased it.
Bam.
Can't you repress it for, a
For
few
at
more
least
years?
a few years.
Yeah.
The one thing we can't repress is our vote, which we'll have to get onto now. It is Roswell That Ends Well versus Mihual.
It's Roswell That Ends Well for me.
Yeah? Why is that?
It's just easy. I think about 5 minutes into Roswell, I was like, I love this episode so much. Like, I don't dislike Meanwhile. Obviously, it's made it this far. And I
also don't think we ever need to quantify that we don't like these episodes. They're in the tournament.
Yeah. But I'm only quantifying it because it felt so obvious to me when Roswell started. And I was like, oh my God, yes, it has to be this one. It's so fucking funny. It's so funny. The wit and the humor and the pacing, the timing of all the jokes. It's great animation later on, and it's just so much fun. By the end of Roswell, I am just I have a big smile on my face, and I feel like I've been treated,
Giddy
I
as
feel
a
like
schoolboy.
I feel
Given
like
a
I've-
nice fried egg on top of a pie.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, I just feel like that feeling when you come out of a good comedy show, like a live one, and you're just like, I've been tickled. I've really been tickled by that. And like, obviously, Meanwhile's not going for that feeling, but it doesn't achieve its feeling as well as Roswell achieves the feeling.
That
it's
is a
going for.
fantastic point. Is that they are both fundamentally different episodes in terms of tone and theme, but Roswell just executes it much more efficiently.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to agree for you for the exact same reasons. I just think that Roswell is a damn near perfect episode for all those things. It's just written to near perfection. And it's a testament to the writers that until I've had to actively think about it, I forget that Hermes and Amy they're even absent from that episode.
I can't tell one way
No,
or the other.
They're not in the opening scene.
Okay,
There
cool,
you go.
cool.
I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. So, and meanwhile, as I said, what I give Meanwhile just so many points for sticking the landing and making a worthy finale that I think, despite what people have said about the second run, I think it appeased a lot of people going, yeah, cool. We're satisfied that it's over. We got what we wanted out of it. You've tied up the majority of the loose ends, at least by the end of a season. But I just don't think it can live up to Roswell.
I don't think as well that I would need a finale to be the best episode of that show. Because you're not kind of looking for that. You're looking for something that's going to give you some nice warm feelings, and like the fact that it's a bit kind of slower and less funny, but kind of more focused on the romantic element, I think is good for a finale. Like Roswell, I think is so exemplary and funny, and like we said, almost near perfect. And it's kind of like I don't need that same kind of criteria in a finale. But the vote for me is obviously Roswell That Ends Well. It's just so good with telling its story. All the jokes kind of are executed kind of to perfection. We've got a whole cast involved as well, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And I just think it kind of it goes in without any kind of shyness or worrying over the plot or time travel as a whole. I like that it kind of just has as much fun as we have when we're watching it.
History.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It goes in with aplomb, and
Yeah.
it's there to kind of dazzle and amaze and just get it done.
Before Chris ties it off, I think that's also worth knowing is that Roswell succeeds in its time travel element in a way that Meanwhile doesn't, because there's holes in the Meanwhile one that there's an internal logic that doesn't quite cohesively go together. Roswell does it, as far as I can tell, perfectly.
Even though they say take that causality, it's like, well, actually, causality's pretty okay.
Yeah, it's causality's pretty chill. Chris, man.
So my vote is for Roswell. Roswell wins unanimously. I'd like to take this time not to talk about Roswell, but to talk about Meanwhile, because it's a finale. It's great, and I think it's a really good episode. But the thing that I was alluding to earlier in my negative thing was that it doesn't allow us to say goodbye to the cast as a whole. And to compare Meanwhile to The Devil's Hands as Idle Playthings, at least in that episode, the main cast of Futurama are allowed to commentate on the finale. If we imagine the finale as the final opera scene, you guys remember that where Fry is
will get
performing
lines
Leela? Exactly. They kind of give a send-off to the show. They get their final sentence.
They're also more involved in the way the plot functions.
Yeah.
Like Bender's quite integral to how it functions.
Yeah.
I think if you were to ask me, what is one of the lines Zoidberg says, like Amy says in The Devil's Hands Are Idle Playthings, I'm more likely to kind of come up with it than I am to say in Meanwhile or Hermes or Bender. And I think Meanwhile has a kind of like fatal flaw in that, and it's something which makes Roswell the better episode. Meanwhile asks us to be passive. It says, hey, you've watched this show for 7 seasons. Now I want you to just kind of passively observe these characters kind of fulfilling their final moments. Like it's a send-off in a very passive way, that the characters don't interact with anything else. There are no callbacks to any previous episodes when they're in their final kind of moments. There's no interactions with, say, like Morbo or any of the characters that they've met through Fry's journey of 7 seasons. There's nothing of that. It's just reliant on everything you've developed,
already feel.
your audience kind of bringing to this episode. Whereas Roswell has everything in its episode. If you were to show this to a Futurama fan of 20 years or whatever, because it would be 20 years now, right? 21 years.
21 years.
If you were to show this to a
Shit.
21-year-old fan of Futurama, they'd be like, fuck yeah. Fry and Leela
What's
and
Futurama?
the Bender and all of that shit, that's great. But if you were to show that to a first-time viewer, it makes the right beats. I don't know. For me, Roswell is such a fucking good episode. It's so beautifully crafted.
That's also like the pressure that we have on things to finish. For me, the last something in a series is never going to really be the best one because it just has so much different work to do. And it's expecting that you bring along, that you did your homework and you went to see the other films and you're bringing that along as kind of like an extra living component of that final film, that you're carrying on the memory of, things that have passed already.
Well, what finale can you think
are we
of
gonna
that
do
would
then?
be considered the best episode of all time?
I can't think of
I wouldn't
anything.
say it's the best,
The
but
Rise of Skywalker?
to the point I was kind of trying to make, I kind of made my point kind of poorly, maybe, is that everything in it is contained within the episode. Like Meanwhile doesn't contain a lot of what its heart is at in its episode, whereas like The Devil's Hands Are Idle Playthings does. Like the relationship between Fry and Leela is still kind of built through that episode. Even Scrubs, the season 8 episode of it, is it season 8 last episode?
I refuse to acknowledge season 9, so...
Okay, yeah. Like as corny
you refuse to
as
acknowledge
corny
it.
as it is, it does a clip show, but like it puts that shit in the episode. So like if you're the first time viewing this, like it's in the episode, you know what the
Right.
characters are feeling. It's consistent, and because these aren't serials, these aren't it's not The Wire, it's not The Sopranos, it's not Breaking Bad. It's
Just
not
slip the wire in there, didn't he?
Chris. I love The Wire Bond.
It's also such a problem for a finale to
shot.
have because they've done a finale before.
Yeah.
Like, how many times can you do a finale before? It's like we've done this before.
Without
Yeah.
treading the same
Yeah.
ground.
So
It's
like,
hard.
But it's also why, as I said, why I give them the credit because you're right. It doesn't have to be the best.
No.
it just has to be good.
Just
It
give me
is- it
some
is good.
nice feelings on my way out.
And it's the semi-final winner.
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
in our fucking semi-finals,
Yeah.
I ain't got a lot of problems with this episode.
What we slept on is that means that heading into the finals is Roswell That Ends Well. So it'll be one of hopefully one other, maybe two others.
We still can't find daylight between some of these episodes.
Which is fine. It's perfectly fine. Yeah. And then we will have a winner, a baby beard Futurama winner.
Redeemable for
and then
nothing.
we have to do a finale.
Oh, fuck. Oh. Yeah, we do.
where we get, we get some fans to talk about which episode of this podcast was the best.
No.
Oh.
We would just do a clip show.
Yeah, let's just phone it in and
that's
do a
way
clip
too
show.
much. We've
To
done,
look through 300 episodes.
we've done like 160
What
episodes of
about,
this shit.
what was it, Community? When they do a clip show, but those clips don't
Actually
exist.
from the
so
show.
then they make up a clip show, essentially.
I love it. That's really
It's a
good.
very good episode.
That's quite good. We could do that.
We could do
So
that,
it saves you from
Are we
going back through the
transitioning to a
archives.
fucking community podcast?
Hey!
Shit.
No.
No, I don't want to.
Shit.
I don't want
One
to.
thing I do want to say at the tail end is before we sign off is people who have been listening to us, if you have been sticking with us all the way, or if you've come across from Rollercast or from whatever walks of life, we have a Patreon.
Give us money.
And we...
In these uncertain times.
I really thought you were going somewhere really sincere and heartfelt for that.
It is sincere.
I mean, we honestly, though, like, we have been doing this for 4 years and we want
Yes.
to keep doing it. After this, like, genuinely, after this podcast ends, we transition over full-time for us, onto Roll to Cast, our role-playing podcast, and whatever happens beyond that. And any support we get from people is really helpful in us continuing forward, doing more cool stuff, whether that's a new podcast, whether that's any of the myriad
Video
of things we-
content,
Yeah.
We'd love to bring you guys more stuff.
It's deeply appreciated. We really we know who our Patreons are, and we appreciate you, and we thank you.
Yeah. And
we have
also,
a weekly meeting where we talk about, people supporting us every week.
yeah.
So, yeah.
But it's also, you guys have come along for the journey with us, and you're part of this, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And
Sucked in.
if you want to be part of that conversation as well, we kind of offer ourselves to you as a kind of two-way street. Like,
Oh, God.
Like, is there something that you would like us to talk about? Is there a direction you'd like us to go in? These are kind of the wonderful things about being kind of patrons.
Always online.
Is that we can kind of continue having that dialogue, because sometimes people will say, "Oh, I wish you did this," and it's like, well, we just
Can't do
we
everything.
can't we can't
We can't yet.
Yeah, but
do you
we
want a baby beard OnlyFans?
make it so.
Because I want to make one. That's why Sean suggested it. I've been pressuring him for a while. But like, if you want us to go on to a different cartoon, if you'd like us to watch another cartoon, if you'd like us to just chat and talk about whatever, we're open to
Just
those kind of
tell us
suggestions.
what you want.
If it's King of the Hill, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, you will.
Damn it,
I
Bobby.
really won't.
God damn it,
Yeah, for
Bobby.
me, it's probably if it's Family Guy, no bueno.
Oh. Well, until we figure out where the next load of our money is coming from, I have been Sean.
I've been
Women.
Ellen. Oh, fuck.
Phil, I'm pinned Phil.
I've been Chris.
And it just means that there's 2 more weeks, 2 more episodes, 1 more semi-finals, and the finals until we are completely done. We hope you guys join us. Fucking bye.
Goodbye. We love you.
Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to contact us, you can do so by emailing us at babybeardmedia@gmail.com. Our socials are Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram @babybeardmedia. And if you're looking for a way to support us, the best way you can do it is by jumping onto iTunes or the podcast app and giving us a 5-star rating and a nice review. It goes a long way to helping us. Otherwise, if you'd like to join us next week,
Time for some outtakes. Wacky, wacky, wacky.
My God, Chris.
Well, that's going in.
It so clearly fits our criteria for outtakes. No, someone calls him on that.
I'm
Yeah.
just going to do this until it makes it into the outtakes. I'm the one editing it, so I can put it all throughout
You
the
could literally
outtakes.
do it
For the only...
in your own on your own time.
Yeah.
You could come down here and just go and splice it in.
At the end of this table, and I want everyone to look
Which end?
now.
Is it this? Is it
The
the
end that you're
Snickers? We're looking at
No,
the
it's the other
Snickers.
end, Sean.
The other end.
It's the one with the Snickers.
Oh,
bar
now I'm looking the
So
wrong
which
way.
end is that?
lying conspicuously at the end of that
The
table.
That's
south
that's
end.
a
That's my
that's a
Snickers.
fifth
West.
podcaster.
Where did the Snickers come
It's
from?
mine. I was going to eat it. It came from my pocket.
I have no.
Can we
I have
Please
no
wait
further
until
questions.
the recording begins.
Can
I
we
have no
attach
further
a
questions.
microphone to it?
I wanted to eat the Snickers.
Sir, what do you think?
You're hungry when you get angry. Wait, you're angry when you get hungry.
Oh, I was telling.
You're hungry when
You get angry. That's true. I am.
Who was I telling this? Ellen.
Yeah.
Ellen. I was telling Ellen about this. But Sean,
I could
have
eat.
have I told you about this?
Oh, it depends what it is.
About my steaks?
Jesus
That
Christ.
you had one for lunch and for dinner, and that they're $5.
Yeah. I had 2 steaks today.
Oh, I see you follow the teachings of
Good
our
luck.
Lord Jordan Peterson.
Yes.
Good luck shitting tomorrow.
Did I just
I already
say...
have. It's oil as shit.
As someone that is now back on TikTok, I can say I'm down with all the kids' lingo. And so
yeah.
I know everything
Well, I
to
already
do
found
with
it.
Sorry, I can't understand a thing you're saying right now. You're in
well,
2040.
Well, that's your kind of squaddler dog. Riker doing giving questions.
Jonathan Frakes.
Jonathan Frakes
Jonathan
asking
Frakes
questions.
asks you things. There's
Have
also
you ever
like,
ridden a bike at midnight? Have you ever seen a man with a funny hat coming
is
towards you?
this?
So
Have
you
you
know
not
one of those
seen
like
this?
it's
Oh my
it's either
God.
Ripley's Believe It or Not, or is it like that? It's like it's
I think
almost
it's
like
Ripley.
it's almost
It's
like an
like that.
unsolved
Not
mystery
Ripley's.
type
Oh,
show.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he
And
always like
sometimes it's-
begins the conversation with like just this arbitrary sentence.
yeah.
Have you ever kicked a mug into a kid's
This
face?
is literally
To
one of them.
find that kid was you.
Has your printer ever not worked?
there's just a bunch of supercuts of Jonathan Frakes asks you things, or Jonathan Frakes tells you that you're wrong because half of the stories were like made up and half of them were true, and so he'll be
Believe
like,
it or not.
There's a
There's a
fucking
supercut.
supercut of him going, you're wrong. You're wrong. That's not true. It didn't happen.
It's a
we made it
fake.
up. It's a fake. You're
That's-
wrong.
that's
Because
why
you have
there's-
been stopped.
So,
Denied.
are you at least aware of Worf? He's a Klingon on
Yeah.
Star Trek. There's a whole supercut which is just Worf suggests because he's the head of
Worf
security.
suggesting
Worf
things.
suggesting things, and it gets rejected 9 times out of 10. He's like, "I recommend firing favors." No,
He never gets to that.
Jeez. I'm more than half a bottle through. I'm a full bottle through. This is
Oh.
the last glass.
Oh.
I can drink a bottle of wine in a night.
Do you think he has a problem?
That was the night
think
that
the
we took
question is,
Chris to get his
should
stomach
you?
pumped.
Okay, here's to know if we have a problem.
we as
If
in us
you-
or you?
I feel like
Interrupt
maybe
me
you shouldn't define
drinking
this.
wine.
What's that?
Then we've got a problem.
Okay, I see.
I feel like Chris shouldn't be the one allowed to define what
Yeah.
the problem is.
It's
I
like
can stop whatever I want.
it's like internal investigations. Like you shouldn't be investigating yourself.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Holy
I've
shit,
got
it's
authority.
me!
I've investigated my wine problem and I've decided I don't have enough.
Yes.